Welcome to Healthy Buzz, the podcast for women who are craving honest answers in a supportive community. Hosted by Brandy Homerding, a certified nutrition therapy practitioner who believes your body isn't broken, but the narrative around women's health is. Each week, we're diving deep into holistic health topics, challenging the one-size-fits-all approach, and empowering you to trust your own informed intuition. Get ready to feel seen, supported, and seriously informed. This is Healthy Buzz, where collaboration meets unfiltered transparency in women's health. Welcome back to another episode of Healthy Buzz. In today's episode, I'm going to do a deep dive on a topic that has been on the radar for so many people, a conversation that I'm having all the time. And typically, I'm having this conversation so much because women don't know if this is something they should be doing. And we're going to talk all about creatine. Now, if you heard the word creatine, you probably immediately are thinking about like the gym bros and bodybuilders. And a lot of time women are like, this is not a supplement for me. But I'm going to need you to hit the reset button on this. So creatine has been around for a very long time, and it's been studied for a very long time. I actually went on PubMed and I found that the first recorded research article about creatine was dated in the year of 1855. So it is becoming more and more apparent about the benefits of creatine, especially those that women can also reap the reward from. So this is not just for somebody who is an athlete or male or somebody in their 20s. It's actually really beneficial for women in their 20s, their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and beyond. Like anybody could have really great benefits from creatine. So during the 30s, 40s, and 50s, as you guys know, this is the time in which women are going through perimenopause, transitioning into menopause. So during these years, these hormonal shifts are happening, and women can start to experience changes in their sleep, in their cognitive function, and notice changes in their muscle mass. So creatine is a supplement that can be used to help with preservation. So it's a core metabolic molecule that is backed by decades, centuries worth of science. So this could be a real game changer when we're thinking about energy, your brain, your bone health, your muscles, so many amazing benefits. So we're going to talk about exactly why creatine is so important, what it is, why women need to supplement it more than men, and 6 critical benefits that you could experience from supplementing with creatine. There's going to be some science in this episode, but I'm going to translate it in a way that is going to be very easy for you to understand and give you some actionable steps. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is creatine? So we're going to forget this idea that creatine is some steroid or drug. Quite simply, creatine is a molecule that is derived from 3 different amino acids: methionine, arginine, and glycine. So your body actually makes creatine. It's primarily made in the liver, in the kidneys, and the pancreas. But the amount that you make naturally is about 1 gram per day. And it is going to serve a very essential and crucial job. It is your body's rapid reserve for energy. So here's what I want you to imagine. Your cells, especially those in your muscles, in your brain, they're like little tiny rechargeable batteries. And when you need a quick burst of energy, let's say to lift a heavy shopping bag, or to sprint up a flight of stairs, or to chase your kid around the yard, or to run after your dog who got out the front door and they're like, don't run out there. Your body is going to utilize energy. So your body uses that high-powered energy molecule called adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP. So the thing about ATP is that you can utilize ATP very quickly and you run out of it very quickly as well. So creatine is going to come in and be that rapid buffer. It hangs out in your muscles and in your brain cells. It's holding onto a phosphate group. So it's just sitting around and waiting for that ATP to run low. And when that happens, creatine is going to donate a phosphate group quickly to help recharge those spent batteries. This is going to regenerate your ATP a lot quicker. So this is the phosphocreatine system, and it keeps metabolically demanding tissues like your heart, your brain, your muscles all running very smoothly. So you can get creatine from food, but the food sources for creatine are going to be mainly meats and fish. And you're probably going to get about 1 to 2 grams of creatine from your diet alone. So we're thinking that you can saturate your muscles with creatine to about 60 to 80% of your baseline from what your body's naturally producing and what you're eating. But there's a big caveat here. If you are not consuming meat and fish in your diet, or it's like traditionally seen that women aren't consuming enough of this, you could be in a big creatine deficit. So creatine supplementation is going to help fill the gap of that extra 20 to 40% that your body needs so it can be absorbed much quicker and giving your cells a little bit more resilience. So why is this critical? What's the big deal with creatine? Well, first of all, there's a huge gender gap here. So research consistently shows that women have a naturally lower creatine level than men, partially because we have less skeletal muscle mass. But then also, traditionally, women are not eating as much animal proteins as men, and so they are lacking from the dietary sources of creatine. So women are starting the game with a smaller reserve tank. But I know you, as a Healthy Buzz listener, are working very hard on increasing your daily protein consumption so that you're hitting at least 100 grams of protein. And if you're going to want the benefits of creatine, those are going to need to be animal-based proteins. Now, the second thing that can affect our creatine stores as women is the shift in estrogen. So this is what we really start to see happen for women who are going through perimenopause. Around that 35-year mark is when early perimenopause can start to begin, and we can start to see fluctuations. So as we move into perimenopause, our dominant sex hormone, which is estrogen, starts to fluctuate and eventually decline. That's after progesterone. First, progesterone kind of pieces out, start to see that slowly decline before estrogen starts to slowly decline. So estrogen has so many amazing properties. Great protector. It's going to help mitigate any muscle damage. It helps with our metabolism. There's so many benefits for estrogen, and we're not going to get into all those today. But as your estrogen levels start to drop, your body's ability to naturally produce estrogen and utilize creatine also starts to decline. So this big double whammy here. You have insufficient estrogen levels, mean we have less creatine available in our brain and muscles, and precisely why we're going to need more of it. So creatine supplementation acts as a metabolic stabilizer. This is going to help compensate for the protection that we lose as our estrogen starts to peace out, and is going to have really protective benefits as age-related decline also begins to happen. So where do we begin when we think about what do I even take? How much am I taking? Where do I begin? So there are many forms of creatine available, but not all forms of creatine are bioavailable, meaning that not all forms are easily usable by your body. So creatine monohydrate is a form that is the most studied. It's extremely safe. It's proven to be very effective, and it's very affordable. So research confirms that it is absorbed almost completely by your muscle tissue. So I am very aware of a recent research study that has been circulating on social media in which they're analyzing the effects of 2 other forms of creatine. This study is looking at creatine hydrochloride and then creatine hydrochloride combined with creatine ethyl ester. So in this study, they're looking at the impact on cognition in peri and postmenopausal women. So they wanted to see, hey, what happens with this form of creatine? So creatine hydrochloride is said to be more water soluble than creatine monohydrate. And theoretically, then it can reduce the dose necessary to achieve the same results. So in this study, it was demonstrated that there were favorable results with the effects of reaction time in reducing mood swings with using creatine hydrochloride. So this is great. This is wonderful, right? But let's not forget research that we already have as well. There are similar studies showing the effects of creatine monohydrate on cognitive function, reaction time, and depression all over PubMed from many years. I also found a research study from 2024 that compared the creatine monohydrate to creatine hydrochloride in resistance training. So, this study evaluated the impacts of anabolic and catabolic hormones, strength, and body composition over an 8-week period. The researchers concluded that both forms of creatine provided benefits in terms of hormonal stability, strength, and body composition. And while creatine hydrochloride may be more water soluble, solubility does not affect bioavailability. So, to put it another way, you can save your money and just go with the creatine monohydrate. It's more affordable, and I will put all the information to these different research studies in the show notes for you. So if you want to take a look at these different research articles and understand what's going on, be my guest. Okay, so we have just established creatine monohydrate. Let's stick with the basic, the thing that we already know that works, that is affordable. It's very affordable and something that we can easily use. So where do we begin? How do we start to incorporate this? Hey, Healthy Buzz listeners. Are you feeling like you're constantly struggling to hit your protein goals? Like you should be getting more protein for energy, muscle support, and overall well-being, but you're not quite for sure how to make that happen without sacrificing flavor or other important nutrients. I get it. That's why I created the High Protein Power Plan, a delicious and easy to follow 7-day meal plan designed specifically for women who want to effortlessly reach 130 grams of protein or more every single day. Head on over to bcw.bcollectivewellness.com/high protein recipes to download your High Protein Power Plan today. There are some people who have a stance that you need to do a loading phase in which you're saturating your muscles very quickly and you're taking 10 to 20 grams of creatine per day. Of course, you want to divide this into different doses. You don't just want to do it all at once, but dividing it into like 4 or 5 doses over 5 to 7 days. Some say that you could really benefit from the loading dose. But I don't know. I don't know if that's necessary. What I'm looking for is what is something that is easy to incorporate and something that you can do daily. So I prefer to just skip over that loading phase unless you really want to do that. I don't know if it's necessary. And let's just do a daily dose of 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every single day. So consistency is where we're really going to unlock the benefits here for your brain and your muscles. But there are some people who maybe are a little bit more sensitive and they need to go at a slower pace here. And I 100% recommend this for most people. If you are somebody who is highly sensitive or you're unsure as to how your body is going to react, we want to baby step this and start with a lower dose, maybe 2.5 grams, maybe even less than that, and work yourself up to that 3 to 5 grams daily. Now, something that we often hear about is oh my gosh, I gained so much weight with creatine, or all this water weight that happened. So this is a very common concern, especially for women who tend to be a little bit more focused on the scale. And the first thing I'm going to say is put the fucking scale away. Okay? We got to stop using the scale so much, especially women. Just put it away. There's a time and a place, and every single day is not the time or place. So let's talk about the water retention that you may experience when you're using creatine. So your muscles are going to absorb that creatine. They draw water into the muscle cell to help maintain balance. And this is healthy. This is a cellular fluid shift. This is not subcutaneous. This is not bloating. This is not fat gain. Your cells are going to be more hydrated and drawing more fluid into the cells. So you may see a slight increase on the scale initially, but this does not mean to stop taking it. What this means is put the fucking scale away. So creatine monohydrate is overwhelmingly very healthy and very safe for most individuals. So do not let the temporary shift of your cells taking in more fluid, and the scale may be going up a pound or two, deter you from taking this very beneficial supplement. So there are 6 benefits that I want to talk to you about today when it comes to utilizing creatine. So for perimenopausal women specifically, we are thinking about like, how can we really support our hormones through this transitional phase of what feels like chaos? So first, our number one benefit is thinking about muscle strength and gains and recovery. So benefit number one, we're talking about muscle and strength gains and recovery. So muscle loss or sarcopenia is something that accelerates dramatically as estrogen levels start to decline. I talk a little bit more about this in one of my previous episodes where I talk all about protein for perimenopause. We will link that episode in the show notes for you so you can easily go back and check that out and listen to it as to why some of that happens when we think about muscle loss in perimenopause. So when you pair your creatine with resistance training, and I'm talking about lifting weights, and I'm talking about lifting heavy weights, right? Studies show that it can significantly improve your muscle gains by increasing your exercise performance, endurance, and recovery. So this is what is going to help you build your muscles and strength, and your resistance training is going to improve. So it's going to give your muscles the energy so that you can train harder and longer, leading to a better, more efficient workout. So if your goals are to gain more muscles and more strength, which it should be, you are going to have to actually pick up the weights. Taking creatine by itself without hitting the gym is not going to improve your muscle strength and endurance. You actually have to take the supplement and do the work. So benefit number 2, we are talking about improving your skeletal integrity or your bone health. So perimenopause puts us at a higher risk for osteoporosis. Again, go back and listen to that episode about perimenopause and protein, in which I talk all about why we are having muscle loss and bone loss. Estrogen plays a big role in that. So creatine itself is not going to magically grow your bones, just like creatine itself is not going to magically grow your muscles. However, there's this indirect benefit when you are thinking about your strength gains that we just talked about, your muscle gains that you're going to have. You are going to be able to lift heavier weights. And the heavier load exerts more force onto your bones, which is going to stimulate your bones to become denser and stronger. And that stimulus is what your bones need. So we don't want to become frail as we age, but having that constant stimuli on our bones is going to make them stronger. Okay, benefit number 3. We can talk about brain fog and cognitive function that definitely takes a hit for most women as that estrogen starts to decline. So creatine can help with that. So if you've experienced that fuzzy, difficulty focusing feeling, you know how debilitating it can be when you're just like, what are the words I am trying to say? What is the reason why I walked in this room? It happens so much. So your brain, it uses a ton of energy. It's always sucking up so much energy, and creatine can help with feeling that. So research shows that creatine supplementation can improve your memory, significantly reduce mental fatigue. It can give you better cognitive function and clarity, and especially during really stressful times or periods when you have sleep deprivation. Benefit number 4, you can support your emotional wellness and mood. So hormonal shifts often bring in some mood instability. I mean, anybody else experience some luteal rage? Just me? Didn't think so. The same brain energy that is going to help with that brain fog also helps to stabilize your mood. So there's some evidence that shows that women who are using creatine supplementation can improve their mood and alleviate symptoms of depression. So this is really, really important for anybody who is struggling with the emotional roller coaster that happens in midlife. All right, benefit number 5. Creatine can be important for improving your restorative sleep quality. So sleep disturbances are rampant in perimenopause as progesterone starts to decline. That's really helpful for sleep. And then estrogen kind of makes its way out too. And we can have more hot flashes and night sweats as a result, which wake us up, disrupting our sleep. So studies, including one specifically on perimenopausal women, have shown very positive improvements in sleep quality with creatine supplementation. So it's been hypothesized that by speeding up muscle recovery and reducing physiological stress from exercise, creatine can help the body transition into a more restorative rest. All right, and benefit number 6, the systemic cellular resistance. So creatine provides cellular protection throughout your body. It acts as an antioxidant and helps cells function and survive under stress. So this is really crucial as inflammation can increase as estrogen declines. And if we just kind of zoom out, inflammation is pretty rampant for a lot of people dealing with a lot of stress. So the cellular shield is vital for long-term health for metabolically vulnerable people and your metabolically vulnerable tissues. So this is going to be your heart and your brain. So I hope that you learned so much about creatine, why it's important, especially for perimenopausal and menopausal women. The takeaway here is pretty clear. Creatine is a very effective, very safe, and widely researched supplement that is available. And the benefits are going to exist way beyond the gym. We just talked about so many great benefits. So for any woman who is navigating perimenopause and beyond, this is a helpful tool to pair with the other things that you are doing foundationally to preserve your metabolic health and your structural function. So if you're ready to reclaim your energy, sharpen your mind, and build a stronger foundation against age-related decline, let's consider consistently taking 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily. I will link for you my favorite brand of creatine monohydrate so that you don't have to go and do some crazy internet research and get lost in the Google scroll hole. So if you are wanting to really ramp up and get more benefits of your creatine monohydrate, pair it with resistance exercise and really see how much this is such a smart supplement that most everybody can incorporate in. But of course, as always, if you have any existing health conditions and or you are taking any prescription medications, definitely have a conversation with your doctor about this before starting any new supplement regimen. And that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Healthy Buzz. I hope this conversation has left you feeling seen, supported, and ready to take the next step in your health journey. Love what you heard? Make sure you subscribe to Healthy Buzz so you never miss an honest conversation. And if you found this valuable, please take a moment to leave a review. I truly appreciate it. For exclusive weekly tips and holistic strategies, be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. The link is in the show notes. Remember, this isn't just nutrition, it's permission to trust your body. I'll catch you on the next episode of Healthy Buzz.